It's the final home game of the regular season, and Conor McDavid is back. We get you set for the Oilers and the Sharks right here on the Oil Stream pregame show, brought to you by GCL Diesel. Hello, everybody. GCL Diesel, Edmonton's diesel fuel system specialist and providers of critical engine components for over 50 years. Tom Gazzola and YouTube Trev with you. Matthew Awanek filling in admirably for YouTube Trev, who was named new Tom on Saturday night by one Ryan Bartholomew Rashog. But YouTube Trev back in the driver's seat at ESTHQ, and overall it was a great night, and here we are back in the saddle again for the last regular season home game and the final week of the regular season for the Edmonton Oilers. You can text us 780-218-9999, and you can get at us in the nasty chat if you're watching on our EST YouTube channel. Like on your way in. We appreciate that so very much. Jonathan Davis will be joining us a little bit later on in the show to give us the scoop on the San Jose Sharks, who are also concluding their season with a couple of road games. This is game 81 for the Sharks after an absolutely awful season. They will close things out in Calgary, and Edmonton still has 2 games remaining. After this one, they will go to Arizona for the final game in Coyotes history, at least for the time being. We keep hearing that Alex Morello may get an expansion franchise and has kept the name and the logos and as part of the deal to sell to Ryan Smith of Salt Lake City. So very bizarre indeed. But the last Coyotes game at Mullet Arena will be between the Oilers and those Arizona Coyotes, bound for Salt Lake City. And then Edmonton winds things down Thursday night at Colorado, and we'll be at Hudson's Wet Avenue for a listener watch party. Join myself and the rest of the EST crew. It's going to be lots of fun, lots of GCs to give away, and we're so happy to be on location at Hudson's, both West Edmonton Mall, Bourbon Street, and White Avenue throughout the entirety of the postseason, which it sounds like starts Monday for the Oilers. We're hearing Monday. If there's anything new on that front, I will pass that along your way on the post-game show. So Monday, it will be the Oilers opening up the postseason. There's a slight chance it could be Sunday from what I was told, but it looks like Monday. Let's get YouTube Trev on here, or New Tom, as Ryan Rashog called him. There's a bunch of people in the nasty chat already saying, who's hosting tonight, Honest Tommy or Old Tommy? And then T. Willison said, I thought it was Tommy too. And Snars Tech says Tommy as well. And then T. Wilson says, oh, just regular Tommy. You bring the kid to one game, his first ever, gets lost on the way out of the building because I had to run back to the home studio to get set up for postgame because Awanek was in for him. And all of a sudden, he's trying to get plucked by Rashog, who's nicknamed him Tommy too. People falling in love with this kid. How was it, Trev?
Okay, well, I could go on and on. I don't think I have like the whole show. I could just talk about the night, Tommy. Really, like it was just unbelievable. All yesterday, I was telling like my dad, stepdad, my grandma, like everyone, all my family, my brother, everyone. So it was super cool, man. And yeah, I see the nasty chat. I was kind of confused. So thank you for explaining that, because I'm like, what are they talking about, this Tommy thing? But man, I honestly, like, I still can't get over it. I was on cloud 9 like the whole night, and I was just soaking it all in, and I forever grateful for the opportunity, man. It was so cool. Like I honestly, I never thought I'd have the chance to be there, and yeah, and then it happened. So it was cool. Got to meet a lot of really sweet people. Nothing but amazing things to say about everyone that I met. Yes, it is true. I got lost on my way out and had to ask for security, which was kind of funny. But yeah, it was sweet. On my way out, I crossed paths with Evander Kane, so that was pretty cool. And then I also crossed paths with Kenny Holland, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy, like unbelievable. So, man, honestly, it was a night I'll never forget. And yeah, thank you, Tom, for taking the time, showing me the ropes. I wouldn't have had it any other way.
My pleasure, buddy. You were great, and true pro in the press box. True pro. Well done. YouTube Trev gets his first game in the press box working And I think overall it was just a fantastic night, except for if you're an Oilers fan, the Oilers lost. But for the kid, he did A-OK. All right, keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. And via the nasty chat. Trev, before you take yourself off screen, one more for you. What did you make of the game against the Canucks?
It was funny. I actually I went live right after the video. I've never went live on my channel before, or right after the game. And I was like, I want to see what. So I had some people come in and ask me. They're like, oh, like what were your thoughts on the game? And honestly, man, like it was like boom. It was the quickest game I've ever been to in my entire life. I thought for the most part, like the Vancouver Canucks, they really brought it, and I thought the Oilers played pretty good defensively. They really couldn't get anything going offensively. So that was my big takeaway from the game. But like all the vantage points you get to see, it's a really cool perspective from being that high up and just seeing everything. It was a lot of fun. I like to think that the Oilers could hold their own, and I think they did really good against a team that's top of the league, one of the best teams in the NHL. They were out with Conor. They didn't have Conor McDavid in the lineup, and I like their chances. I really do. It was a whole different team. All things considered, essentially it was a 1-goal game, and they were in there. They really are. They can compete with the best, and I think that's what the biggest takeaway from that game was.
3-1 the loss to Vancouver. They do get swept by the Canucks. And as Dustin Nielsen said it earlier on the Oil Stream Afternoon show, he would not piss a drop worrying about being swept by the Vancouver Canucks if you're part of the Edmonton Oilers. All right, keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. Corey B says NTT, new Tom Trev. And then this one says YTT, YouTube Tom, who knew? The kid comes to his first game working in the press box, and people are giving him new nicknames. Rashog's giving him a contract offer, trying to make a trade with us. We'll take Strutty, Rashog. We'll take Strutty back, but we're kidding. We absolutely love having YTT on board, and great to take him to his first game working in the press box on Saturday night. All right, the 48-25-6 Oilers taking on the 19-52-9 San Jose Sharks. Let's quickly go through the expected, anticipated lineups tonight for the Oilers. Conor McDavid, he is good to go after missing the last 3 games with an LBI. He's expected to play between Henrique and Hyman. And then we're going to see Draisaitl centering Nugent Hopkins and Fogle. McLeod between Holloway and Perry. Carrick with Janmark and Brown. On defense for the Oilers tonight, Matthias Ekholm with Evan Bouchard. Darnell Nurse with Cody Ceci, Brett Kulak with Vinny Desharnais. So we're anticipating no Evander Kane, no Troy Stetcher, and no Derek Ryan. As for the San Jose Sharks, Mikael Granlund centering William Eklund and Fabian Zetterlund. Luke Kunin between Colin Graff and Klim Kostin. Jack Studnicka with Thomas Bordeleau and Daniel Gushchin, and then Nico Sturm with Giovanni Smith and Ryan Carpenter. On defense for San Jose, Mario Ferraro with Kyle Burrows, Mark Edward Vlasic with Jack Thompson, and then Henry Thrun with Kalen Addison. The list of injured Sharks is long. Philip Zadina, day-to-day lower body. Jacob McDonald, day-to-day undisclosed. Alexander Barabanov, day-to-day lower body. Vitek Vanacek, IR lower body. Logan Couture, IR groin. Matt Benning, IR lower body. Ty Emberson, IR lower body. And that brings us to starting goalies for the Oilers tonight. 25-year-old Stu Skinner getting the nod, 35-15-5 with a .258 goals against average, .907 save percentage, 2 shutouts in 57 games this year for Skinner. All-time versus the Sharks, Skinner a 4-1 record, 121 goals against average, .948 save percentage, 2 shutouts in those 5 appearances against San Jose over the course of his career. And then at the other end of the rink, we're anticipating 26-year-old Devin Cooley, 2-1-1 record, .299 GAA, .918 save percentage in 4 games this season. And in his career, he will face Edmonton for the first time in his career. All right, keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. And then if you're watching, get at us in the nasty chat. I should mention portions of this hour brought to you by 100.3 The Bear, Edmonton's best rock. Catch Dusty in the mornings with Uke and McCord every weekday morning, and then tune it to Jess Jackson on your way home from work every afternoon. Our great friends and partners over at 100.3 The Bear, Edmonton's best rock. All right, the Oilers and the Sharks, one of 8 games on the schedule tonight. Let's take a look at the out-of-town scores, playoff implications everywhere. You've got the Habs leading the Red Wings. That's not good if you're the Red Wings trying to lock down that final wild card spots. 3-1 there in Detroit. 13 minutes left in the second period. You've got the Islanders up 2-1 on the Devils midway through the second. Pittsburgh leading Nashville 2-0. 16 minutes remain in the middle frame. And then Tampa and Buffalo tied at 1 in Tampa 5 minutes into the second period. Washington up 1-0 on Boston. That's an important game for the Caps. 5 minutes into the second period. The Rangers lead the Sens 1-0 after 1 at MSG. And then you've got the Sharks and Oilers. And then the Kings and the Wild. All right. Let's talk Sharks. Let's talk what's going on in the Western Conference playoff picture. Let's talk about the Arizona Coyotes on their way to Salt Lake. And let's do it with our friend Jonathan Davis from SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Mr. West Coast Hockey. That's why he's perfect for today's pregame show. So much to talk about. You can also catch Jonathan on the hosting Show Me the Money, the hockey betting podcast, and then on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, he does host the Ice Cap. JD, what's going on, man? How are you coping with the loss of the Arizona Coyotes to Salt Lake City?
Well, it's a warm weather city that's gone for now. And it's too bad because it's a really good hockey community. I mean, the problem is it's just simply where that arena is located. I mean, Tom, you've been out there before. Think about having to drive 45 miles every day for most of its fan base, for 41 home games. It just doesn't work. I mean, it'd be like for here in LA having the Kings playing in Anaheim. It's too bad. But they're going to Salt Lake is a great city. And they've got an owner who's got deep pockets, and the league has wanted Ryan Smith to be a part of the NHL for quite some time. So it's going to be a win-win. But look, it's a lose-lose for the people that work there, and that's the people that I feel really bad for because look, companies relocate all the time, but a lot of those workers that that most people would never even know existed, they're going to be out of jobs. And that's the part that really stings.
Yeah. The hockey ops side will be on the move. Business side sounds like they're staying behind. I kind of talked about it a little bit off the top, JD, is, there's some discussion that Morello will have a crack at an expansion franchise. To me, it sounds ridiculous. And then the other thing too, is like, maybe that's to get him to allow this transaction to happen. What's your take on that portion of this deal that they've made?
What to get? I'm sorry. Can you?
To allow him a crack to get an expansion franchise because he's going to retain the Coyotes branding and the naming rights and all of that.
Sure. Look, they're giving him the right to. They're giving him an option, down the road. It doesn't mean he will get the option down the road. And there's a lot that needs to happen between now and then. It's securing an arena. It's having the faith amongst the other NHL owners that he's worthy and can actually make this happen in Arizona. Coming back to the desert is not a bad idea. I totally agree with that. But he just may not be the guy to make it work. And it's interesting, he's got other business investments. He's got the minor league team there. He's got the casino industry as well, which he has not had a lot of success with. So look, we'll see. He's getting a nice payday for selling the team. He'll have money to work with, but again, he may not be the right guy.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Jonathan Davis joining us now, host of the Ice Cap on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. We are going to talk about the Oilers and Sharks, but one more on this whole situation here. There was some, I haven't heard any rumblings about realignment or anything with the division. To me, it sounds as simple as leaving the soon-to-be Salt Lake team in the Central Division. Did you hear anything about that? And what do you make of potential realignment?
I haven't heard anything about it. So but it would make sense just to keep them where they are, just based on time zone. Now, I wouldn't, LA has done a really good job of playing games in Salt Lake. They played, they moved their Frozen Fury exhibition game, which was always played in Vegas. Then when the Knights came in, they shifted to Salt Lake. I think it could be an interesting rivalry, just because the Kings have developed, somewhat of a fan base in that area, in that market. So, that would be interesting to see if there's a way to get them into the Pacific. But and from a travel standpoint, it's a 90-minute flight from here to Utah. So, that would be good as well. But I think, the likelihood is they stay where they are.
Yeah, that's what I feel as well. And so we'll see. I haven't heard much about that. There was some chatter, I think, that came, I don't know if it was from fans or something like that, but just an interesting thing to kind of chew on a little bit. All right, JD. So we're going to see the Oilers and the Sharks here tonight. This San Jose team, I'm going through the roster yesterday, and I'm just like, oh boy, like the injured players are way more impressive than the actual players on the team. From what you see from the Sharks, is it's been a little while since we've seen San Jose take on the Oilers. Where is this team at? What does Mike Grier have that he's building? Because I look at it, and I'm like, what is this? Like, what? I don't see any prospects that I go, man, look out for this guy in a couple of years. Or am I crazy and off my rocker here?
No, but in fairness to Mike Grier, I mean, he came with the cupboard bare, empty. And so you've got to get, as they say, really bad to get good eventually. And they've gotten really bad, and that's been their goal. And, hopefully for their sake that they land, the local kid, Macklin Celebrini, and that can be the beginning of something in San Jose. But look, tonight's game, regardless, if you're a hockey fan, it's all about Connor hitting triple digits, in assists. That's what tonight is about. The Sharks just, look, even if you're living in San Jose, you're who's coming into town to go watch them.
Right.
It's pretty much friends and family. And, Devin Cooley, who's playing tonight in goal, the local kid, nice little story there. Local kid from Los Gatos gets his first win at home. It's friends and family. It's tough. It's a tough. The diehards are the ones that are coming out to San Jose to watch them. But look, Mike Grier's got a plan. The plan is to get really bad, to get really good, and it's going to take them at least 5 years, you would think, to get there. But when done right, that's a fun place to watch hockey.
Yeah. And that's an interesting thing. Like you talk about the friends and family, and whenever I see a game in San Jose, I'm like, oh my God, like it is so empty. And that building was rocking for 20 years, JD. They had a really, really good team, and there was a reason to go to those games. And it was one of the loudest buildings in the league. And I remember the playoff series with the Oilers in 2017 and how raucous it could be. Like, it's a good hockey market, but it feels like people have kind of jumped off the bandwagon quite a bit here. Do you feel like there's any trouble brewing, or if they could start putting wins together and have solid seasons in the next few years, that people will come back in droves?
I think they'll come back in droves. I really think that, Mike Grier is paying for the mistakes that, and frankly, that Doug Wilson made. I mean, there were a lot of bad contracts that were handed out, and you saw how that organization changed. I mean, the Erik Karlsson deal, the Evander Kane deal were two bad deals. It cost them Joe Pavelski at the end of the day because they just, they couldn't afford to keep him. So, and even if you look earlier, I still think that, Joe Thornton, look, be in the Hall, in the Hall of Fame, but I think they could have moved on. I mean, I just think they hung on to guys way too long, and it stunted their ability to progress.
The Oilers and the Sharks for the third and final time this season. Jonathan Davis, SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, joining us, getting set for tonight's action. 100 assists. This is something that we could see from Connor McDavid. First time since 1991. I think when Gretzky did it last, he would join Mario Lemieux, Wayne Gretzky, and Bobby Orr in doing this. How impressive is that to you, JD? And comparing it to or contrasting it with a 70-goal season, which has been done, I think, 13 or 14 times. This one's only been done by 3 players, and Gretzky did it a bunch of times and Lemieux and stuff. But how do you look at 100 assists in a season, which Nikita Kucherov has a very good chance of doing as well?
Well, look, I've said, whether it's Connor or whether it's even Kucherov, I mean, some of their assists are prettier than the goals that went in. And I think back to maybe it was a week ago, Connor driving down the left side and just a tape-to-tape backhanded pass to Leon for an easy goal. And I was just like, my God, like, yeah, it's impressive. We're not talking about cheapy ones. These assists are legit. So look, 100 assists, 70 goals. They're both extremely impressive. But a lot of times it's hard. I don't know. I wouldn't want to disparage either one of them. I mean, it's
of course not.
It's kind of like you're going to the, you've got your choice of 2 beautiful women that are both absolute knockouts. Really, like, does it really matter?
No.
They're like she's more beautiful than the other one. Okay, great. They're both stunning. They're both models. Whatever. I don't know. It's an unbelievable accomplishment. But as you say, I mean, look, Wayne did it 11 times, but other than Wayne, it's only been Mario and Bobby Orr. So it seems to be tougher to get to that milestone than it is, when you only have 3 other guys that have done it.
The contrasting and comparing 2 beautiful women sounds like an LA problem, JD. So I know it must be nice down there on the coast. All right, let's look at the playoff picture in the West and the Pacific Division because it's going to be, I think, we're in for a great playoffs as a whole. But when you look at a potential Oilers-Kings matchup or an Oilers-Golden Knights matchup, how do you think these teams all stack up against each other? Like, does LA have the jam to get past Edmonton if they meet for the 3rd consecutive spring? Or how do you like the Golden Knights going into this playoffs? Now getting healthy, Mark Stone skating, Tomas Hertl playing, and then the Vancouver Canucks, which have just been a super consistent team all season long. How do you break this one down, JD?
All right, let's start with the team in my neck of the woods in Los Angeles and the potential for round 3 between the Kings and the Oilers. The Kings will tell you that they're better equipped to play the Oilers this time around, and they are. The problem is that the Oilers are better equipped to play the Kings than they were in years past.
Right.
And I think they're far better. And the Los Angeles Kings, Tom, here we are. We've played 80 games this year, and I've said to you before in the show, they're an enigma. I still don't know what this team is. You watch them play the last couple of games, and it looks like they don't care which team they play in round 1, whether it be Edmonton or Dallas. And I don't think it's because they think they're that good. I just don't think that it's just an apathy about this team. So they're concerning to me. The Vegas Golden Knights, I think Mark Stone coming back, if he's able to come back at some point in the playoffs, absolutely huge. Yep. The impact that Hertl has had in a very short time, he really changes this lineup and lengthens it. And they'll get even longer in that lineup with Stone when he comes back. But if they don't have Pietrangelo for the playoffs and this virus that he's been dealing with for quite some time, that to me that's a huge loss. I think that could be the difference in them advancing. But if he is healthy, then yeah, they're dominating to me. I think that they'll be better equipped to beat Dallas, to play and to beat Dallas than they would be without him. I really like the Golden Knights. I think they beat Edmonton if and when they face them. And I think they've got a really good shot against Dallas. It's just, you can make an argument for all 8 teams and why they will advance round 1. And you can make an argument for all 8 on why they'll be out in round 1. Yeah. And, it's Logan Thompson or Aiden Hill, who plays in net for Vegas. I don't think Bruce Cassidy knows right now. Jake Ottinger, can he be regular season Jake Ottinger, or is he going to be the playoff one that we've seen the last couple of years? Because I think, that roster in Dallas is unbelievable. I mean, I think that's the best roster. Vegas, if completely healthy, I'd say would challenge it. But every team's got a war. What you guys saw with Vancouver on Saturday night, getting Lindholm back and now 3 deep down the middle. And I thought he played a good game Saturday night. They've really missed him. And when does, look, Demko needs to get in. I mean, if I'm waiting to see, does he get any action? Because my understanding is they don't start until Tuesday of next week. That's going to be he's already had a long layoff. So, we'll see where it goes. I like that. Look, if Vancouver plays LA, I just like the nastiness that Vancouver has. LA doesn't have nasty players. Vancouver's got, guys like Miller, who I love to say, he'll run over his mother to win a game. LA doesn't have that player. The way that Besser has played, you've got, Quinn Hughes on the back end. The roster. It's really good. The one thing I will say about LA is, and it's interesting, I've had a conversation about it with a couple of local people here. Drew Doughty does not have an impact on the game like he used to. But Drew Doughty, I will say, has played really well this year as a shutdown guy. Mm-hmm. He looks really good. Has it had enough of an impact? I don't think so. At the end of the day, I mean, the crazy thing is, I guess, Tom, while I say that, they could still be a 100-point team, but I think they're a little fugazi as a 100-point team.
Well, either way, if it's the Golden Knights or the Oilers, I'm excited. I'm just excited about the playoffs in general. But yeah, scheduling, it's weird. If we're talking about the Canucks on Tuesday, the word around here is Edmonton gets going on Monday, JD, and kind of like a slow build-up or slow start to the postseason.
Blame the NBA.
Because of the NBA?
Yeah, this is all NBA and ESPN and TNT.
Okay. That makes sense. And then out east, JD, I'll ask you, who are your beasts of the East as we get set to watch the East go into the postseason as well?
Well, I mean, look, I'll go chalk here, and for me, Carolina is the team that I would invest in. I love this roster. Obviously, the addition of Gensel has made a big impact on this team, and Freddie Anderson has played so well. I think he's only lost twice since coming back, or at least twice in regulation. And the goals against average is under 2 and the save percentage. I think there's only one goalie that has a better save percentage in the time that Freddie's been back. I really like what Carolina has done. And it's interesting. I saw a stat earlier last week talked about, this is what Carolina's third or fourth consecutive 50-win season. Mm-hmm. And there's like 4 teams that have had at least 3 or more 50-win seasons in a row, and all of those teams in that span won a cup. Is this Carolina's time?
Wow. All right, JD going with the Canes out east. Jonathan Davis, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you for giving us a little bit of insight into your thoughts on the postseason. Obviously, the San Jose Sharks team that we're going to witness tonight, and then everything going on with the Salt Lake City / Arizona Coyotes situation. JD, be well, my friend, and we'll talk soon, okay?
You coming out here if either Vegas or Edmonton?
I'd like to.
Vegas or LA?
If we could sell it like sponsorship wise, then maybe we would do it. We traveled one game to Vegas this year. I miss the road very, very, very much.
All right. 4-1 Detroit, or 4-1 Canadians, by the way.
Ooh, Detroit, awful. There's an update. JD, great catching up with you, sir. Thanks for the time. We'll talk soon.
All right, bud. Have a great night. Thanks for having me.
That's Jonathan Davis, host of the Ice Cap on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. You can also catch his podcast, the Show Me the Money Hockey Betting Pod, as well. Great guy, and always on the pulse of what's going on in the Pacific Division and the Western Conference as a whole. He's obviously in a great hub in LA. He's got the Kings and the Ducks there. And then he sneaks over to Vegas, and I think he's bounced into Arizona a few times and up to San Jose. So JD, a great resource, and a pleasure to have him on the program today. All right, keep those texts coming in. 780-218-9999. It is the Oil Stream pregame show brought to you by GCL Diesel. GCL specializes in giving your diesel engine's heart a second wind. We test and remanufacture fuel injectors, pumps, and turbos for a wide range of applications, breathing new life into vital components. You heard JD dropping the update on the score in the Detroit game. Let's take a look around the National Hockey League. 8 games on the sched. 4-2 now. The Habs lead the Red Wings, 4 minutes left in the second period, so the Wings cutting the lead a little bit. The Islanders have opened up a 3-1 lead on the Devils late in the second. Pittsburgh up 3-1 on Nashville, 6 minutes left in the second there. 2-1 Buffalo over the Lightning in Tampa, 5 minutes left in the second. Washington has that 1-0 lead over Boston. That game in Washington, 2 minutes left in the second. The Rangers continue to lead the Ottawa Senators at MSG. That one just getting underway in the second period. And then you've got the Oilers and Sharks and the Kings hosting the Minnesota Wild. I've got some text that I want to read. This one says, Tommy Gunn was pretty hard on Salt Lake City last week, but it's a legit and awesome city. Yes, there's a heavy uber conservative religious component. No, it isn't going to be a party city like Vegas, Nashville, New York, LA, or Phoenix. But if you love the outdoors, the mountains, and all the related activities, Utah is a mecca. Also, because there's so much LDS activity, that's Latter-day Saints, a huge component, obviously, the religious component. It's actually driven growth in some of the counterculture to that. SLC has some great local breweries, restaurants, bars, and coffee spots. Sure, not the place for bachelor/bachelorette party trip, but if you want an amazing snowboarding or mountain biking trip, go to Utah, see an Oilers game as a treat. Sorry for the long text. Give Salt Lake City a chance. Fat Dan with that one. Fat Dan, I did mention that the outdoor component of it is in a really nice spot. It's starting to get into the desert. St. George, Utah, the Red Rocks there, the canyons are absolutely gorgeous. But if you're going there to party, that is the wrong spot for sure. And yes, I did dump on it a little bit, but it does have other things to do. And it's not all about the party. It's not all about the party. You want a good vibe, though. Some of those other cities that you mentioned, much, much better. Let's go to Jason in Leduc. I'm not going to read that one, Jason in Leduc. And then Dash says, wearing my greasiest and oldest hat tonight, Tommy. I don't want to lose a good one. Someone is getting a hat trick. Book it. Dash from Heavy Hockey. I love that. Smart play, Dash. Smart play. Also, you left your coffee mugs or coffee thermoses in our studios if you want to come and scoop those up. I was wondering whose they were. I'm like, those are nice. Awanik's like, those are Dashes. Ah, okay. Gotcha. All right. We have Matt Kassian coming up in about 10 minutes time. YouTube, Trev, want to go inside the Oilers locker room?
Yeah, we can definitely do that, Tommy. Okay. Let's go to, he hasn't played in a little over a week, but he does get the, he's on the cusp of 100 apples today. Can he do it? Time will tell. But here is Captain Conor McDavid.
You expect to be able to go tonight?
Yeah, good. Yeah, everything's been feeling good, and play tonight.
What the last few games been like just watching? It seems like, I know you, like you said, you always want to play, but there was a couple games where we see post-game high-fiving and just still being part of the group even if you're not on the ice.
Well, yeah, I mean, just because you're not playing doesn't mean you're not part of the group. I liked, obviously liked a lot of things about the Vegas game, and thought the boys, played hard. It's been a busy schedule, and I thought they played hard.
Getting into close proximity of playoffs here, so what's the process like, Connor, and just sort of making sure that you're 100% ready to go, but I know you probably want to get a game in ahead of time. So.
Well, yeah, I think it's a balance of everything, right? Obviously balance of health, balance of, making sure you're ready to go, making sure your game's where it needs to be. Going 20-plus days between games is not really an option for me. So, good. I'll get one in here tonight.
Maybe a thought on the line with Adam Henrique moving on to the wing. Haven't seen a ton of that, and then Hyman on the other side.
I think that's how we ended in Calgary. Haven't played with Rico much, but really looking forward to it. He's been playing really well. And obviously high as he. So, I think it should go well.
Have you guys still kind of been, you guys hadn't clinched a playoff spot, or like, Chris said, it was a playoff game we were going to play. Would you take the opportunity to take time off, or was it a situation where you felt that you had this chance to do it?
This was not a, let's just sit out games just to sit out games. Obviously, there was something there. It was bugging me, and I was sitting out to feel better. This was not a matter of if it was playoffs or not or whatever. It was just, thankfully, we had clinched a playoff spot and had something bugging me and needed to get it right.
So this is your last home game of the regular season. You flashback to the first home game of the regular season. You guys were 0-2 and outscored 12-4. Can you kind of comment on the evolution of this team over there?
Yeah, it's been it's been a wild ride a little bit. Obviously starting real low with our start, and it's been having a real high there in the middle with that win streak and getting ourselves back in the fight, and here we are, about to host a playoff series. It's pretty hard to think from where we've come. It's a credit to everybody in this room, the resiliency of this group, and everybody sticking together and finding a way just to get it done. That's really what it came down to.
Conor, based on previous seasons, how much stock do you put into playing well last few games, kind of heading into the playoffs?
I thought we were playing really, really good hockey last year heading into the playoffs, and it doesn't really it matters, I guess, but at the end of the day, it's a different beast, it's a different animal, the playoffs. So, and there's always a little bit of time off too, so there's not much momentum that kind of gets carried over. So, we want to be playing our best hockey, no doubt. We want guys to be feeling their best and rested and healthy, and that's the ultimate goal.
You're on a cusp of a pretty big milestone here with 99 assists. How big would 100 assists be for you, considering it hasn't been done in such a long time? Another, I guess, nice round number. Everybody likes that, so it'll be that'd be nice.
Conor, obviously after this game, the next game you're going to play is going to be a playoff game here at this arena. How much do you think, it's been a long time since the Canadian team has won the Cup, how much as a player who grew up in the Toronto area, how much do you think it would mean for this country as a whole if the Canadian team won the Cup?
Not really in a position to think about that. We're got so many things going on here, so many bigger things to worry about. That's more of a maybe preseason question, I guess, but we're worried about our everyday and worried about what's ahead of us and just taking it day by day. Really, that's what we're looking at.
It's a fan appreciation night. You've always spoken, glowingly about the fans, but on a night like tonight, is it a way to, just kind of thank them for the time, effort, money, everything that they do to support the team?
Yeah, we're very lucky here in Edmonton to have such incredible fans. Tickets are expensive, and they spend their hard-earned money to come watch us play night in, night out, and continue to support us through the ups and downs. And obviously, really appreciative of them. Wouldn't be possible without them and their support. And obviously, it makes it exciting for us to put on a show for them, every night.
There you go. There's the captain, Conor McDavid, making his return to the Oilers lineup tonight on the cusp of 100 assists. And quite likely he gets it tonight against the San Jose Sharks. I kind of like how he answered the question about, a cup, bringing it to Canada. And maybe he just doesn't want to think about it that way. One game at a time, that old cliche, and get your job done, focus on the task at hand. I would assume that's his mindset. And I can appreciate that. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. Canada with some good teams this year headed into the postseason. Obviously, the Oilers, the Canucks. You've got the Leafs going in. You got the Jets playing strong. So 4 pretty damn good teams. And we'll see what happens. That's a quarter of the postseason teams. And maybe one of them can make it happen. And preferably it's the team we get to cover on a day-to-day basis and talk about, because that would be a hell of a lot of fun. For sure. All right, we have Matt Kassian coming up in about 5 minutes or so. We're going to dip into the Oilers locker room one more time, and then we will hear from Chris Knoblauch a little bit later on in the show. Let's go to Adam Henrique instead.
Playing on line with Conor McDavid tonight. An exciting opportunity. Playing the wing with him. Watching his game from up close. Being here. Has been pretty eye-opening. So to get an opportunity to play with him is pretty cool.
So if he passes it to you, don't
shoot
pass
it back? I don't. Me and Heimel are going to be fighting for the net front. So, I just go out and play. Nothing, I don't really change anything in my game. Try to hit the booster a little bit every shift, but other than that, just go out and play hockey.
How excited are you? In your career, we know the playoff run that you've been on, but this is pretty unique for you too. Looking forward to this and preparing yourself.
Well, a lot. And I think it's just a more, I guess not a ton has changed, but I guess the day-to-day, you do think about it more and more, the opportunity we have and being in the playoffs and what's to come, and try to just focus on, getting ready for that. I think tonight for us as a group, it's just, you want another response game and at home, and the last one at home too. You want to go on the right foot, and the next one here will be a playoff game, so that's exciting.
Can you talk about maybe some of the line mates that you've had in the past that would be considered pretty fast players, and how you sort of adjust your game and how you make sure that it works with guys that are real burners?
Well, you try to make reads off those guys and be in positions to have that support all over the ice. Offensively, especially, defensively, same thing. Again, playing with two centermen really is a nice option to have. So, his vision and speed and getting to the net to get those second and third opportunity puck back. So it's again, you just go and play. I'm sure we'll be talking throughout the game what we're seeing, what we're feeling, and go from there. Hopefully there's some chemistry.
Connor doesn't make much of his 100 assists, but how do you guys feel as a team, as a group, of trying to get him back? Again, we're just going and play. I'll do what I can to help out, but again, it's a pretty special thing. I think coming up to it, it's him being out the last week or so, coming back, just want to get back into the flow of things and getting his game back where he wants it to be for playoffs.
Adam, you've probably been in the playoff battles in New Jersey and Anaheim, but how different do you expect the atmosphere in Edmonton to be over a postseason run as compared to those others?
Yeah, you see the passion and the fan base even since I've been here, and it's fun and exciting to play in front of this crowd and the fans here, and you see it around the city, and everybody's so passionate about it, being in Canada and with the Oils, and I've certainly watched in the past, and you can, even on TV, you can see it, and you can kind of feel that emotion in the building. So to be out there on the ice, you definitely feel it as a player, and it's definitely exciting to be part of.
All right, there's Adam Henrique. He's going to be playing with Conor McDavid tonight, who makes his return after sitting out the last three with a lower body injury. And then we'll see Zach Hyman on the other wing for McDavid, who is hunting down that 100th assist of the season. I'm just trying to keep tabs on the Tampa Bay Lightning and their game to see if Kucherov gets to 100 assists. So it is 3-1 Buffalo now. And Kucherov does have 100 assists. So he's got one period to go. 3-1 the Sabres lead after two. And Kucherov does have his 99th assist of the season, setting up Steven Stamkos' 40th goal of the year. Stamkos putting together a nice year, kind of quietly, maybe a little bit forgotten to a certain extent. So there you go. That's the assist update for you as McDavid awaits the San Jose Sharks in about 40 minutes, 50 minutes time. All right, let's bring him in. He is our game analyst, former NHLer, and our dear friend Matt Kassian for Game Changers. Game Changers brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Remax. Late Damon Bunting, consistent top producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian Remax realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community driven. He understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Good evening, Cass. How are you, pal?
Good evening. I'm good. Last home game of the regular season, Tom, and then it's all about the playoffs. So it's an exciting time in the city of Edmonton.
Yeah, it is. And Adam Henrique was talking about like feeling the atmosphere and the vibe, and he'd watch in years past on TV and all of that. But even going to the rink the other night and just, I live right by the arena. So you could tell people are kind of milling about. You're seeing Oilers jerseys on off days. You're seeing, obviously people wear their hats and their hoodies and all of that. But you see people going to work wearing their Oilers gear. You see the business people. They got the business at the bottom, party on top with the Oilers stuff. So it is that time of year. The weather is better, although it's going to get a little chilly at the end of this week. It's not playoff time officially anyway, but yeah, there is a build up to it. What do you, or how would you describe this time of year going into the postseason? Because you've experienced it in a Canadian market and an American market.
Yeah, well, American market, it's not as big of a deal. You're just kind of still just chugging along. But there's a little bit of a buzz about the city. And I think in Canadian markets in particular, heading into the playoffs, people are excited. They're excited. I mean, it's not that the games don't matter. They do matter during the regular season, but they just matter more in the playoffs. I mean, that's where the real bragging rights are. That's where you want to be able to stick it to Calgary and say, look, you guys didn't make playoffs, and look what we got. Look what we did. Like it just means a little bit more, Tom. And you can feel it. And I think in the building too, from an excitement standpoint. And I think even after the game the other day, I think people are starting to feel it a little bit. Like that buzz is starting. People are ready for playoffs, Tommy, and it is just an exciting time.
I really do like the energy that comes with the postseason. I remember Cass 2017. It was like nerve-wracking. I was working for the team at the time, doing Oilers TV. We created a post-game show that was longer and extended. It was live, and the Oilers hadn't been in the playoffs for a decade at that point, obviously. And every game, you're like, oh my God, this is an emotional roller coaster. And my friends were losing their minds. And then now we're talking about them going into the playoffs for a 5th consecutive year. It's not old hat, and it's always exciting, Cass, to cover the playoffs. But now you understand the flow of it and the day-to-day, the rhythm that comes with the postseason. And I absolutely love it. So I'm very, very excited. And unlike Matthew Iwanek, I do not believe that the regular season doesn't matter. It does have a lot of value. However, Cass, how much stock do you put into the last couple of weeks of the regular season going into the playoffs for playoff teams?
Well, you put some stock into it. If a team's playing absolutely like hot garbage heading into the playoffs, the likelihood that you're playing like hot garbage at the start of playoffs is probably increased. If you're playing really well heading in and you're playing with good habits and you're not making big mistakes, you're probably going to keep that going too. So it does factor in. It's not the be all end all. It does matter, but I mean, it's I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what I'd put on a scale of 1 to 10, how much it matters. And I don't know. Like, I don't know. What I do know, Tom, is the regular season is the last chance you have to brush up on your habits before the playoffs actually start. And that's important. That's important. Now, fortunately for the Oilers, you're kind of set at where you are. Still a really far outside chance you win the division. Most likely not going to. But you're thinking here, we're finishing in second. We got to manage this thing a little bit. Got to make sure that we're healthy and ready to go. And that's really where your focus is tonight and really the last 3 games of the year.
All right. That leads perfectly into the question of the night. I'm going to throw it out there. And if you're watching, get into the nasty chat and let us know your thoughts. And then if you're listening, of course, text us 780-218-9999. Cass, what do you want to see from the Oilers in the final 3 games of the regular season?
Yeah, well, kind of everything we're going to talk about in Game Changers here coming up. Really.
Okay, then let's do it.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm just going to jump right into actually Game Changer number 3, presented by Damon Bunting of Remax Real. Well, everything. Elite. I'm not used to reading Remax Elite.
I got you.
Full liner in front of me. I was trying to like, what is the full liner here?
You could read it if you want.
I will absolutely read it. Damon Bunting is a consistent top producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian Remax realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community driven, he understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out on DamonBunting.com or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Depending on the playoffs, I actually might be going out for dinner with him next week, by the way.
Excellent. He's a great dude.
Trying to figure out a time where when we sent each other a message, we were like, yeah, it's playoff dependent. It's all playoff dependent, but we penciled it in next week. But I'm going to start with Game Changer number 3, and we'll move to number 1 because it ties right into that question of the night. Tommy, which is bottom sixers. And that's what you want to see. You want to see your bottom 6 play very well. They're going to have an increased role, increased ice time, increased importance to push this thing through to the end of the season. And you want to see them play well. I'm looking in particular at that McLeod line with Corey Perry and Dylan Holloway on it. Kind of interesting that line was the line that stayed together. You have a little bit of a mix up with everybody else, and with McDavid coming back in, you're Vander Kane being out of the lineup, and it looks like that line staying together. So what do I want to see the rest of the way? I want to see the bottom six step in and play better. I want to see them step in and play more. I want to see them step in and be consistent the last 3 games of the year, because it's going to be really about them. Now, the big boys got to be the big boys, but they're going to play less. They're going to get some rest here. I think a lot of what I want to see in the last couple of games is going to be driven by that bottom 6 in the forward group in particular.
All right. That was number 3. So we're working our way back today.
Sure, let's go backwards.
Okay.
Why not?
Number 3 on Game Changers was bottom sixers. By the way, that read was just totally natural, and I'm sure Damon's going to be very proud of you reading off the liner for this segment. All right, number 2, 100A.
100 assists. I mean, you guys have been talking about this already, but hey, we want to see this happen. Not 100 for Kucherov yet, unless something has changed in the last couple seconds. Hey, we want to see Connor get 100. He's not going to play a ton of minutes. It'd be interesting to see, because I think he's going to be like full throttle, and if he gets 100 assists, he might dial it down a little bit, depending on how the game's going. But you know what? McDavid's going to come back motivated. He wants to feel ready for the playoffs. He's missed a couple games, still has that opportunity to be the first player to get to 100 assists, and he's going to want it, Tommy. He is going to want it. If there's power plays, he's going to be dishing. He is going to be moving the puck like crazy, trying to get that 100th assist. And Tom, I want to see him get it. I think everybody wants to see him get it. You're playing the San Jose Sharks. Not much or any playoff positioning is on the line here. So for something to watch for and to be excited about, hey, let's cheer for Connor to get his 100th, and who knows, maybe a couple more on top of that.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised, Cass, if he just got it in the first shift, to be honest with you.
Yeah. He's just gonna like go in,
skate right off. Done.
Yeah, just get off. Yeah, leave. I'm done.
Bye.
Yep. See you later. That's
Good
it.
game.
Yep.
All right. Number 3 was bottom sixers. Number 2, 100A, as we anticipate McDavid picking up assist number 100 on the season. It would be the first time that an NHL player hit the century mark in assists since Wayne Gretzky back in 91. And then, like I said, Nikita Kucherov does have an assist so far in the game against Buffalo. And he is now also at 99. So he has the third period here where the Lightning trail the Sabres 3-1 to get to that century mark before McDavid. But we'll see. It could happen. All right, number 1 tonight on Game Changers. Cass, home ice advantage.
Yep. They got it. Round 1, you got home ice advantage. Let's press it. San Jose is the worst team in the league. Worst team on the road in the league. And Edmonton has been one of the best at home, especially in recent months. They've been so solid on home ice. And Tommy, heading into the playoffs, you're starting the playoff series at home. This is your last home game before that. So this is your last dress rehearsal for your home crowd, to get them ready, to get yourself ready for the home playoffs. They're the playoffs that will start at home in not very long, just a couple of days here coming up. And hey, we all like a little home ice advantage, and we all like watching games at home. It's a little more fun than watching games on the road. So, you know what? For the Oilers, it's just a chance to just make, I don't want to say make a statement for the league, but make a statement for themselves and for their fans, just to go out with your last home game on a high note. You're playing a team that's not very good. The tendency could be to drop your level a little bit because of your positioning in the playoffs, because you're probably not catching Vancouver. You're not going to drop any lower. The foot may be off the gas pedal a little bit, but I want to see it on just for that playing to the crowd, being at home, Tommy.
Yeah, 1-1-1 is the Oilers' record on this 4-game homestand. Wrapping it up tonight, the San Jose Sharks, meanwhile, closing out their season, a pretty bad one, like Cass alluded to, with a 2-game Alberta road trip. Starts tonight, and then they wind it down in Calgary at the Saddle Dome. Calgary in a wild one yesterday against Arizona, back and forth, lots of goals. It was fun to watch. That's for sure. Cass, there's one thing about the roster going into the playoffs that I want to ask you. It's something like Schauger's talked about on the Morning Mandate, and he's talked about on his podcast, and he's brought it up with Dusty a bit, and I don't necessarily agree with him on this one. And he says that if the Oilers need or are going to go anywhere in the playoffs, they need Evander Kane to be in the top 6 or force himself into the top 6 or be a top 6 player. I don't really think that has to be the case. Now, I do think, and I would have sided with Shoggy on, they need Evander Kane to play his ass off and to have a positive impact. But where he lines up in the pecking order, to me, it doesn't have to be on that second line or on that top line. I think it can be anywhere in the top 9 as long as he's contributing on whatever line he's on and making an impact in a positive way, earning that 15 to 18 minutes and being a guy that's commanding the ice time. So I don't know. I think of it. I don't think of it more so in the line 1, line 2, line 3. Those are your main guys, the top 9 that are supposed to make a difference for you. Yes, the top 2 lines have Draisaitl and McDavid, but I don't think that should detract, and Kane has to be a top 6 guy. Where do you come out on that one?
Well, I don't think he has to play in your top 6, but quality-wise, he has to be one of your top 6 best players up front.
Okay, that's a good way to break it down.
That's going to be my breakdown of it, because I think he can play on that third line. If he's on the third line, you should most likely have some favorable matchups.
Mm-hmm.
And if Evander Kane is playing at his best, that line should be dominant, and that could be the difference in a series. So I think Evander Kane is going to be one of the more important forwards for the Oilers, because he is a player that can be a difference maker. His physicality, the edge to his game, scoring around the net, being a nightmare for other teams. He can do all that, and he needs to do all that for them to be successful in the playoffs. I truly believe that he is one of the most important forwards for this group. I'm less concerned about him having to play in the physical top 6, like having to be on one of the top 2 lines. It is more just about if Evander Kane is going and playing and giving you the quality of minutes. That to me, I think to be successful, he has to be going. Yes, absolutely. I don't think he has to be in the top 6, but he has to be one of your best 6 forwards.
Cass, I'm laughing at our tweet that we put out. It says it's the last pregame show of the season. Someone sent a funny response. It is the last home game. Did you catch that, Trev?
My bad. Yep. I'll as soon as you said that, okay, I'm gonna go fix that right now. My apologies, everyone.
I'm sorry, dude. I don't mean to bring. I was looking at this reply. It's from Oiley's sake, and he's got the counting thing.
That's
and I'm like, why?
Yeah, I meant
I'm
to say
so bad at math.
The last home game pregame, but okay, I'll go fix that right now.
Anyway, the damn Twitter, right? Damn Twitter, Cass. All right, the San Jose team, is it going to be tough to get up for this one? Because how would you describe mopping up a season the way? I don't know if you ever had to go through anything like this, but my goodness, what an awful year.
Not quite like this. I mean, that's an awful year. When you got one guy with over 20 goals in Fabian Zetterlund, you're probably hurting. Not a lot of success for the San Jose Sharks. I mean, that's a rough year and a rebuilding year. And even moving forward, Mike Greer, who was one of my favorite Oilers when he was here. I loved Mike Greer. It was so fun to watch. Just
hell of a player.
Oh, he was great. But he's got his work cut out for him, even this offseason, to retool and rebuild this San Jose Sharks lineup. And there's not a lot there, Tom. There's not a lot there. Now, just like any NHL team, if you give them an opportunity, they still can beat you. They've still won 19 games this season. They can still win. If Edmonton plays 3/4, 75% plus of what they're capable of, they should win this hockey game. But yeah, there's not a lot on San Jose that scares you right now from a, they're not a scary squad.
Yeah. Devin Cooley starting in goal. He will play his 5th ever NHL game. And he's kind of a good, happy story, a local product, and kind of waited his turn and finally got to the NHL and won at home. And you saw his parents crying. It was really neat. Mackenzie Blackwood is not with the team cast. They have another goalie named Georgi Romanov, which is, I think, a fantastic name. And then here's the lineup for the San Jose Sharks tonight. One more time, Mikael Granlund between William Eklund and then 20-goal scorer Fabian Zetterlund, Luke Kunin with Colin Graff and Klim Kostin, Jack Studnicka between Thomas Bordeleau and Daniel Gushchin, And then Nico Sturm with Giovanni Smith and Ryan Carpenter. On defense for San Jose tonight, Mario Ferraro with Kyle Burrows. Mark-Edward Vlasic with Jack Thompson. Henry Thrun with Kalen Addison. Out for San Jose, Philip Zadina. Day-to-day lower body, Jacob McDonald. Day-to-day undisclosed, Alexander Barabanov. Day-to-day lower body, Vitek Vanacek. IR lower body, Logan Couture. IR groin, Matt Benning. IR lower body. And Ty Emberson. IR lower body. And guess what, Cass? To add insult to injury, they don't wrap up the season till Thursday in Calgary. So they have to go to Calgary, hang out there for a few days. I saw some of the Sharks players yesterday around the arena, and they don't sound like they're too focused on these games. No. So, I mean, you never know what could happen, but
you're in get through it mode.
Yeah.
With that being said, for some of the guys, you look at a young player on the back end, like a Kalen Addison, who's, Western League kid. There's some people that are playing for jobs for next season, and we'll find some motivation in that. But by and large, there's the motivation level, particularly for guys that have been around, probably not going to be that high.
Yeah. What do you make of the wait to get to the postseason? It sounds like they're going to go 2 games Saturday, 2 games Sunday, 4 Monday, 4 on Tuesday. And we just had Jonathan Davis on earlier, and he said that a lot of it had to do with the NBA and the scheduling. Obviously, some buildings, there's conflict with getting the nights. And then there's also the TV deal with ESPN and TNT, which also, I believe, I know TNT for sure has the NBA. I'm assuming ESPN does as well, but that factors in as well. And it really puts hockey on the back burner, or they don't get precedence over basketball.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the schedule's going to be what it's going to be. Who knows exactly how it shakes out for the Edmonton Oilers. And listen, it's going to be a couple days, could be a few day wait. You're not waiting like a week or 2 weeks. It's still going to be a pretty fast turnaround, and we're going to get playoff hockey. So I'm not really worried about the schedule. Listen, some buildings are already booked and they got to figure it out, and let the schedule people do that. And let's just worry about being ready. And, I'll probably get a haircut, and we'll be looking sharp for the start of playoffs.
The hair looks great, but fresh cut.
Trim. It needs a trim, Tom.
I could feel mine getting a little bushy on the sides, so I'll probably get one too. Cass, you were razor sharp as always on another edition of Game Changers presented by Damon Bunting, Remax Elite. What a great read. A natural, says YouTube, Trev. You're a natural.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Good teamwork, good teammates. That's why we're having the fun that we do like to have here on the show. Okay, Cass, we'll catch up with you on the postgame show.
Sounds good, bud.
There you go. There's Matt Kassian with Game Changers presented, like we mentioned, as always, by Damon Bunting, Remax Elite. Looking to buy a home, maybe sell your place, downsize, upgrade, whatever. Hit up Damon Bunting. He will get you whatever you need. He's that good. All right. It is a GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. As we roll along here, let's get to some text. Nasty Chat, what are you guys doing? I haven't checked you out in a little bit here. Niedermeyer, what are we talking? Simple 101, I like this one. Says, all kidding aside, I miss the Oilers/Flames meeting up in the playoffs like back in the 80s. You know what? I was talking with somebody about that recently. I think it was going into that last Battle of Alberta. Like, the Flames had a good thing going. Obviously, they lose Kachuk and Gaudreau, and it changes a lot of everything. And now they're kind of in retooling, rebuilding mode. This was supposed to be a time where we were going to see potential Battle of Albertas in the playoffs like we did 2 years ago, which was absolutely amazing to cover. And the province was just electric. It was awesome. So, yeah, that's too bad, but we'll take whatever we could get. I love the playoffs, regardless of who the Oilers are facing. Let's go to Big Uke. Big Uke, was nice to have some beverages with you and your sister Sarah down on 104th Street after the game. Says, evening, Tommy, excited to see what a healed and rested McDavid does against an AHL team who just wants to golf. I expect a beatdown. Also, if Kane plays like he has the last few games, put that on the third line, and I love those matchups. Thank you, Big Uke, for the text. Cute Laura here. Cute Laura says, watching with my husband tonight. Excited about the Oilers' chances tonight with Connor's return. Go Oilers. Great show Tom. Oh, thank you, cute Laura. We appreciate that very, very much. And then Displaced You, Connor says, what teams do you want to see play in the first round? I'm really looking forward to the Jets Avs. That's going to be a good series. Displaced You, Connor. I mean, the Avs took an absolute beatdown. The Jets have swept the season series against Colorado, so that would be a good one. Let's take a look at the standings. Boston would get Tampa. That would be a good series. The Rangers would get Washington as of right now, or Detroit if they figure it out, but they're losing 4-2 still. Who would Carolina play? They'd get the Islanders. That wouldn't be a great one. A rematch of Florida-Toronto. I still think Florida probably wins that one, although they've been kind of sputtering lately. I don't know. Boston, I think, would be a good series. What about you, YouTube Trev? I'm just looking out east. In the West, I feel like all those series are going to be great.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking at the Toronto and Florida Panthers series as well. That would be fun just to see. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what happens because it kind of looks like the Leafs are cursed. Doesn't matter what they do. As for the West, like for the Oilers personally, I would like to see them face the Vegas Golden Knights in the first round. Just because, just switch it up, Tommy. Like honestly, it's fine that they played, and it looks like they might play the LA Kings. It's just they did it, 2 years ago. They did it last year, and if they did it again this year, it's kind of like But so yeah, personally, I'd like to see the Oilers face the Vegas Golden Knights in the first round, beat them at their best, maybe potentially, and then like Colorado and Winnipeg. I was talking to my dad yesterday, and we were talking at length about that series. That would be very interesting to see how it goes. Nathan McKinnon, Connor Hellebuck. Yeah, I can't wait for the puck to drop coming the postseason here, Tommy. So whatever matchup there is, it's playoff hockey. You can't really complain.
Yeah. Not at all. Frithy getting into the text line saying, Klim Kostin revenge game? I think he's played against the Oilers already in his return. So another text says, Oilers legend Klim Kostin. Yes, what an impact he had. Actually, I really enjoyed him being around. He was funny to chat with, but didn't get the contract offer that he wanted from the Oilers. They let him go to Detroit, and then he does get the deal that he wants from the Red Wings, and then they flipped him to the Sharks. So, you'll see him tonight wearing San Jose teal. All right, let's go back inside the Oilers locker room. I promise we do this. We haven't heard from the head coach yet. Let's go to Chris Knoblauch.
Getting your captain back, and you guys obviously must feel comfortable being covered.
Well, absolutely, and we were very cautious with this, and we didn't want it to persist and get worse or just be a nagging thing that he had to play through, and we feel that, and I say we, our doctors, our training staff, feel that he's recovered and is good, and we shouldn't have any regression.
Got him on that line with Henrique and Hyman, which I think that's where they finished before. But maybe just a thought on what you like about that potential mix, and if that's something you're interested to see towards the playoffs.
Yeah, possibly. Tonight, Vander's not going to play, so we had to do a little bit of juggling. I think if we're balancing it out a little more, Nuge with Leon gives us a little a good pair there. And with the way Davo and Hyman have been scoring goals together, I didn't want to separate that. So we'll start with that, and we'll see how that goes tonight.
What have you seen from Henrique and sort of the way he's settled into his game a little bit here that leads you to believe he can, kind of keep pace with that line and with Connor particularly?
Well, Henrique is very similar to Nuge's game, just very defensive aware. And then also just being able to continue plays, not give away pucks. And, when you're playing with guys who like Leon and Connor who can make so many plays and are dangerous anytime they have the puck, just that they can able to get the puck in their hands and not having to always dump and chase or just make a bad pass and giving that puck away. Being able to maintain possession of the puck is really important, and I think Adam's really good at doing that, and hopefully they can have some chemistry and build off something tonight.
Is it an update on Kane?
Okay, yeah, just an update on Kane.
Similar situation with Connor, just a maintenance thing that we feel that if we continue playing, it might get worse. Playoff is day one, and we're sure he'd be in the lineup, but we're just being cautious.
Chris, do you have any sort of, I guess, plan or idea of, you got 3 games in 4 days here with Connor, like, do you want him to play all 3 games? Are you going to kind of assess after tonight? Or?
We'll assess after tonight, and after tonight's game, after tomorrow night's games with Vancouver. If they win, then it's our games aren't as important, but there's a chance that we still can get first in our division. So we'll play it. Obviously, after tonight's game, we'll have a huge impact on it, and also Vancouver's next game.
You mentioned Broberg by name after the Vancouver game. I'm just wondering if there's any expectation that some guys from Bakersfield will be coming up in these last 2 games on the road.
Yeah, we will evaluate that after tonight and see if it's just Broberg joining us later on, or maybe there's another player, or depending on our health and where we are in the standings.
Okay, so you've got a few pretty good defensemen here. I just wonder, from your perspective, what should a Norris Trophy type player look like? What should people be looking for? It's loaded, I know, but
that's tough. It depends on what you could talk about. Bouchard being top of the scoring and how much he impacts our team. You can look at Ekholm too, and I'm curious to what his 5-on-5 points compared to everyone else around the league. His power play points are very minimal, being on the second unit and not getting much opportunity. Now, if he had the first line power play points, some guys around the league, now you look at the impact he's made defensively, or with his physical play, how good he is defensively. You got 2 guys that should be in the picture, and I guess it all depends on who's voting and what they feel is most important.
do you have a defensive stat in mind that kind of rings true for defensemen that don't have as many offensive points? Is there something that you would kind of look for? He thinks plus minus is
well, plus minus, expected goals for, those are 2 very similar things. You just go by plus minus. That's often those get skewed on just luck, just being in the wrong time, being on the ice, and you had no impact on it. So I think that has a little bit to do with it. But yeah, those 2 kind of going hand in hand. I do think they are very important.
You're going to miss answering questions about McDavid's health.
I hopefully do miss those, and that they aren't coming up, because we do have an issue with his health, and hopefully he's good and playing well, and hopefully you're asking me questions about why he's playing so well.
All right, there's Chris Knoblauch. Look at that. Even a chuckle from the coach, big Jerry Montajong, friend of EST. You can catch him on the hangout from time to time, getting the coach to laugh a little bit. All right, keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. Still 3-1 Buffalo over Tampa. We're on Kucherov watch to see if he gets that 100th assist. Obviously an opportunity for McDavid to get it tonight. I think he takes care of business pretty quickly. Kucherov does have an apple in this game for his 99th, and has 11 minutes and 30 seconds to pick up his 100th of the season. Monster year for Nikita Kucherov, running away with the scoring race. Him and McKinnon have been phenomenal, and Kucherov at 141 points through 79 games. McKinnon 138 and 81, and then you've got McDavid at 130 through 74 games. McDavid has missed some time. Obviously, remember early in the season, he wasn't quite right. Neither was Matthias Ekholm, and then you had Ryan McLeod missing all of training camp, and the Oilers starting 2-9-1. They had that brutal loss to San Jose on November 9th, 3-2. I shredded them. I said the season's over, and here we are a whole bunch of months later, and they are ready to lock down another playoff spot, and are ready to go on a potential run, which should be a lot of fun, as the playoffs tend to be, regardless of where your team finishes that you either cover or watch or enjoy cheering for. The playoffs are the absolute best. All right, let's get YTT on here, because I want to ask him the question of the night. 780-218-9999 if you want to get in on it. It is the Oil Stream pregame show brought to you by GCL Diesel. And text us inbox 780-218-99, or of course via the nasty chat. Question of the night: what do you want to see from the Oilers in the final 3 games of the regular season? Do not answer 3 wins, because I know that that's what you want to see. But what type of play? What do you want to see on the ice? Personal accolades, team accolades. What do you want to see, Trev?
Yeah, well, first off, obviously the big one, not going to talk at length about it, but McDavid with the 100 apples, that would be unreal. You'd love to see it, and he very well could do it in the first 5 minutes of tonight's game. So yeah, that's one thing. Another thing, stay healthy. Try and stay as healthy as possible, man. I get to that you want to get these points, but at the same time, to what extent? Like you pretty well already have your place. You know, if you beat the Vancouver Canucks, I'd say, okay, well now you really have a chance to push for first, but I think that's kind of squandered now. So you're in the playoffs. I don't know. I'd save it for the playoffs. You're 3 games away here, so that's another thing. And I don't know, like maybe just find a little bit more chemistry. Like I'll be intrigued to see with how Henrique does on the top line tonight. You talked about he's not the fastest skater, but you don't necessarily have to be the fastest skater to play with McDavid, although it helps. You all seen what Patrick Maroon did, where he chipped in 27 goals the one year. So can Henrique provide that? Maybe. Well, not obviously not to that extent, but yeah. So maybe just a little bit more chemistry within the lines, and then yeah, but in saying that, play safe. Don't get injured, but still, I want you to show up and have at least a little bit of an effort, and I think that's what I'd go for, Tommy.
I respect it. Zach Hyman's not a burner with his skating ability, and he's had an absolutely phenomenal season, right? I mean, a 50-goal season for Hyman, and he's not thought of as a speedster by any means. He busts his butt, that's for sure, and it has paid off with the 53 goals that he has managed to score, 75 points for Hyman. Evan Bouchard on the cusp of 80 points, sitting at 79. You know what? I think you could tick off some of these individual accolades. The McDavid 100 assists, for sure. Where's Leon Draisaitl? Like, what's he aiming for? He's at 104 points, 41 goals, 63 assists. I think he just wants to play the right way. Maybe another goal or 2 for Connor Brown. That would be nice. Maybe get one from Ryan McLeod, who's put together his best year with 30 points this year, 12 goals, 18 assists after a slow start. And it's interesting. Like I've been saying it for the last few weeks, expect Philip Broberg to get called up at some point. And Chris Knoblauch kind of alluding to it. The other one that I think, and he said maybe someone else, and if it's a forward, I would think Sam Gagner would be a good candidate for that. Play his last game as an Oiler. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely, Tommy. And just talking about Philip Broberg, it would be interesting to see like how much, has he, I think you'd be able to tell like if he's taken the next few steps as easy as his first shift, right? But I was looking at his stats too, and he's actually clicking at a higher rate this year in Bakersfield than like offensively than Evan Bouchard did, which is pretty impressive. In his 48 games played, he does have 35 points, 5 goals, 30 assists. So he's quietly put together a pretty good season down in Baco, and I think he deserves a shot to at least play 1, maybe 2 games here. But I'm really curious to see how Philip Broberg plays when he does get in the lineup here.
It's good. He's part of their future plans. Yes, we'll see how he does. I'm assuming Arizona for sure. Maybe he gets that second game, but Arizona is so close to Bakersfield that that makes a lot of sense. And by the way, we've got an out-of-town scoring update from Tampa. The Lightning have added a second goal. Eric Chernak from Nicholas Paul. No Nikita Kucherov.
Don't do that.
On the assist there. Did you like that?
That was suspense, man. I was like, he did it. I was like, he did it, actually. Holy crap.
He did not. He has not done it yet. So Nikita Kucherov still sitting at 99 assists. What do we have left for time in the game in Tampa? 8 minutes left in the third, and we'll see if the Lightning can make the comeback happen. And if not, then McDavid gets a full 60 against San Jose to get to the century mark in the assist column. Also, you got Montreal leading Detroit 4-3, 8 minutes left in the third. I've got my TV here. I should put that game on. I'll watch it. Looks like Detroit is trying to buzz and keep its playoff hopes alive. because they do have back-to-back games against the Habs to close out the season after that big win against Toronto in OT on Saturday. The Islanders leading the Devils 4-1, 5 minutes left in the third. Pittsburgh up 4-2 on Nashville, 12 minutes left in the third there. Buffalo 4-2 over Tampa, as I mentioned, down to 7.5 minutes. Washington still leads Boston 1-0. That game in Washington, just under 6 minutes left to play. Ottawa trails New York at MSG 2-0 after 2. Oilers get the Sharks. Kings welcome in the Minnesota Wild. And that is your full slate of games on the schedule tonight. 8 total. And playoff implications, standings could change because the Caps continue to lead. And they do hold the second wildcard spot in the East at 87 points. They have the tiebreaker over the Red Wings. The Red Wings trail the Habs, still 7.5 left to play. 4-3 Montreal. Washington up 1-0. And then Philly only has 1 game left and is also at 87 points. Pittsburgh with a win, they would move up to 88 points. So an outside chance there. They would need the Caps and the Red Wings to falter to get them back into that wild card spot in the East. Interesting season for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Almost salvaged it. Maybe they get a miracle in the last couple of games. We shall see. All right, let's see if we've got any other texts to get to as we wind things down. Oh, yes. Here we go. This one says, as much as I don't like the guy, I think Cooch has to win the Hart. He's leading in points, should have 100 assists at some point, has a huge point gap to the next guy on his team, has elevated a Tampa team that a lot of people thought were over the hill. Jason in Leduc says, what's the matter, Tommy? Didn't like my team name suggestion for Salt Lake. I thought it was apt due to Salt Lake getting someone else's team, especially a crappy team. Yeah, but I was trying to avoid the sexual innuendo of Jason in Leduc. I did chuckle at it by myself, though. Displaced Connor appreciates the very dramatic pregnant pause, Tom. Well done. Thank you. New Tom, any final words for you before we go into this one?
Yeah, just let's have a good game tonight, Tommy. Not too worried. Show no mercy, no surrender kind of thing, and let's just drop the puck and get Connor his 100 apples of the season. How crazy would that be? I'll definitely be doing a video on that later because it is insane. And with Kucherov doing it as well, probably kind of just one of the most, as far as seasons go. Like I don't remember this many headlines for so many players. It's crazy. Offense is up. I think that's a good thing for hockey. So I'm pumped for it, and but as far as tonight's game, I'm just going to be sitting back. I hope to just enjoy, and here's hoping in the post game we can just talk about a good, convincing win, because that's really what it should be, Tommy. So that's all I got.
Get her done. Oilers and the Sharks. You'll get Stu Skinner in goal for Edmonton, and then it is Devin Cooley for San Jose. McDavid making his return. Let's see if he gets to that century mark. When it comes to the assist totals, 4-2, Buffalo continues to lead Tampa. Kucherov sitting on 99 assists as well. Big thank you to Jonathan Davis from SiriusXM NHL Network Radio for stopping by, as well as everyone for tuning in, texting in, watching, listening. You know we love you and appreciate you. That is the Oil Stream pregame show presented by GCL Diesel for YouTube. Trev and Matt Kassian. I'm Tom Gazzola saying ciao for now. Enjoy the game. We'll talk to you on the postgame show.